a question about motivation turns into a conversation about role models and community? How does that happen? Well, you're gonna find out today. What's up, world, and welcome to the 7th episode of Grind Towards Success. I'm your host, Ali Zakka, and today we're continuing the interview with Code 9 Gaming. Episode 5 and 6, or part 1 and part 2 of the interview, are already up, so go check them out right now. Hey, you're back? Cool, you check those videos out? Great. Now, gonna hit part 3. We're talking about motivation that becomes a conversation about role models and community, which I'm not even sure how it happened, but it's a wild ride, and let's get started.
What is your motivation that keeps you driving? I can personally say my son is a big motivation to me. I'll have weeks like recently our job's been going through a transition where like we have like a boatload of work. So I don't get any sleep through the week pretty much. And then on the weekends I also work. And I still have my schoolwork I'm keeping up on, as well as trying to make sure that I'm being a positive role model. And while my son's walking around, I'm chasing after him, I need to be teaching him now stuff as well. So like that's the most important thing throughout my day when he's awake. And I can find myself in a stress bubble at times, but then as soon as I see him smile, I'm like, motivation. I need to get on my job. I need to do it like this, and I'm automatically back on my A game and 100%. So my son's my motivation. What would you say your motivation is, Ali?
My motivation is, it's funny because it comes from family too. Because like family is one of them. I have kind of like a little pool of motivation, I should say, like a little thing where I'll reach out to, like, okay, I can grab from that, I can grab from this, and family's a big one. Family. Like my family now, my mom, my grandma, my sisters, my brother, them, my nieces, and like find a way to support them when I get older. Also, not just them, the old family I have now, but my future family, my future wife, when I meet her, my future kids. I want to have a system set up where they don't have to worry about not going to the doctors because they can't pay for the bill. They don't have to worry about whether or not there's a roof above their head. They don't have to worry about that kind of stuff because it's already taken care of them. And then my second source of motivation is my goals. What my goals are, where I want to see myself, who I want to inspire, how many people do I want to inspire, how many people I want to reach out to. Like, that inspires me every day to get up, because motivation comes and goes. It's like emotion, it doesn't stay. But your goals, where you see yourself in the next 10 years, where you see yourself in the next 5 years, next 10 minutes, those never change. They stay the same. So goals, and for me, my goals and my family is my two biggest things of motivation, two biggest things of drive that keeps me going.
Tyreik?
I mean, a lot of places that motivation spawn from. One of them for me is that I really feel for, like, as far as African Americans and the struggle that we've gone through. I've been on the bad end of a lot of racist stuff. Even in 2017, a lot of people think that it's gone and dead because some people don't experience it. I've experienced a lot of events just in the place that I was. So one of my big motivations is not being what the system wants me to be.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And not being, okay, that's just another African American male who falls to the product of their environment, so I really want to push that and just not be another statistic, essentially. One is I want to give back, and I want to help people, who are in those positions, and those who aren't in those positions make sure they don't land in those positions. I want to make sure that my community, and another reason why I joined the Brotherhood, I want to make sure that I can affect the African American community and all the community in general. But our culture is so broken and tampered and battered because
when you say our culture, do you mean specifically our race as a culture, or do you mean our culture as in the functioning generation, the functioning times that we are forced to
like
develop
the,
in.
Like the millennial. Yeah, well, no, I specifically mean our culture as African Americans.
Okay.
Because the generations, that's gonna change. That's gonna change subtly. You know, every 10 years is different. There's the 80s, when like the 90s,
right.
like 2000, you know what I mean. That's always gonna change and progress with time. But our culture has consistently been broken as it was never whole in the first place, essentially.
Well, I saw this meme, and it struck a mindset in me. It was weird. It said in the 60s, the white men told black women, "You don't need black men. Come with us, and you'll be better off." And then the 70s was the white government saying, black women, you don't need black men, leave them to us, or something like that, and basically telling black women they don't need black men. And then in the 80s, 90s, and 2000s, black women were saying, we don't need black men, we're independent. And now in the 2000s, where even though it was happening in 2000, 2002, it said 2015 and, plus. It's the black women asking where are all the black men at to protect us. Because, the black girls are going missing. Women don't have fathers. And it's stuff like that is it a culture that we can really depend on? Or is it something that we as a people need to set into the next generation that, let's just break the race barrier now, and instead of looking at it like this is you setting your independent mark, let's all come together as one. It's
what it is. Quick notes. What it is, honestly, when it comes to that stuff, it's because it's manipulative. The culture it keeps getting influenced by things. And I wouldn't say it's the culture as a whole, but when you strike these areas and you manipulate, that was the whole game in the first place. It's a form of slavery in a sense, because you make people, you say something about somebody and you make them believe it on their own, even though it's like Inception. You know what I'm saying? It's like they didn't necessarily come up with the idea themselves, but you planted the idea, and now they subconsciously produce the idea,
right?
And that's what keeps so many people down. In my opinion, that is.
Well, I would say, Christian, you want to say anything about that before I have my comment?
I guess I kind of have a different viewpoint. I don't view it as the culture being broken. I actually view it as a product of the environment in which the culture resides. So, I mean, there's a lot of factors, contributing to the fact that we have, broken homes, broken families, people ending up as statistics. And I think that's just the nature of the cycle of generational poverty. It's no secret that most of the most impoverished places are people where it's majority African Americans. And
right.
If you don't have a lot of opportunities, you don't have a lot of money to get things done, because the real movers and shakers are the people with a lot of money. If you don't have that, you can't really get a lot of things done. You can, but it's going to be a much larger gap, a wider obstacle to cross, and that's what people don't understand, I think. So I think whatever we can do to just kind of minimize that gap of poverty, give people equal access to opportunities. Are you more likely to turn up as a statistic in, if you had, expensive SAT prep tutors and, music lessons and stuff like that, something to keep you focused on your goals, something that's not, due to the roughness of living in poverty. I mean,
which is why when I asked you guys the question, when I asked you specifically if you were meaning the culture as in our race or the culture as in the generation that we're in, because we're in that generation where bad happens, and bad is a daily thing that some people wake up to. I actually grew up down the street from here now, and my aunt's apartment was on fire every other night. At least once a week, her apartment was catching fire, and it was because somebody was setting it on fire.
And see, and that's the thing right there, where I feel like a lot of it is because some of it is economics. A lot of it is economics. But why is it that majority African American are in those poverty areas. You know what I'm saying? Why is that the norm from the start?
There's definitely a racial element to that.
Exactly.
I mean, there's a lot of opportunities that are taken away simply because of your race. Like housing opportunities, schooling opportunities, job opportunities.
Yeah.
It's a very pervasive kind of insidious kind of racism, structural racism, and a lot of people don't realize. They think that if you're not out there burning crosses and shouting slurs, then you're not a racist. But it's the kind of little subtle things that can hold a person back.
To kind of go off that, because I had this conversation a lot before. I actually had this conversation when I was down in Springfield, Missouri a lot. And I think a big deal that is our role models. Like, we're mostly black African American role models. They're either an athlete, a musician, or an actor. And generally, they have a big role. They can, like Colin Kaepernick, who made a big stance last year. They have a big role, but majority of them don't really stand up and say, "Don't leave your families, don't leave a broken home, keep everything together." And the only way kids nowadays, or kids growing up, thought, "Oh, I can get out of this poverty situation," is maybe go run a ball down the field, shoot a ball in the basket, maybe I make lyrics or become an actor. Like, I think there need to be more variety of African American black role models, not just those three sets. Until you get that point, until you get people say, "Well, I can't become an entrepreneur, I can't become a CEO of the top 500 Fortune company because all these barriers here." Until we get multiple African American, multiple people of color, not just African American, not just black, Hispanics, every genre, every race, every race, until you get them breaking those barriers, then playing a ball, like run a ball down the court, playing a sport, becoming a musician, becoming an artist, actor is not just the goal that we have for it, not just the end goal for us to get out. You now know that, I can become an entrepreneur. And that's one thing I think all of us show here, that diversity of what we can do to get out and be role models.
That's what doesn't get displayed enough. And that's a fault of the media. As I think as time advances, it's getting exposed more and more how much the media lacks on showing. People rely on Facebook now more than anything for news. It's sad because Facebook can create a lot of fake articles. At the same time, they can provide you a lot of enlightening articles. Like, I find some new products on Facebook all the time that I'm like, oh, I need that. I will say the Angry Mom microwave cleaner, that didn't work at all. My kitchen smelled like vinegar for too long, and my wife is still angry that it didn't work. So, Facebook is like the new media outlet. CNN can't be trusted. CBS can't be trusted. They're trying to take out PBS. So, the whole media outtake is what causes not even black, just people in general to have those one idols. Beyonce's not that big of a star. She was just seen most. And, growing up as a kid, what you see most you think is the best. Because that's what, it's there. It's always there. Like, yeah, that's it. That's because it's what you're taught. Blue is always in front of you as this strip. So, therefore, that's blue.
Yeah, and I definitely agree with that. I personally, being in the organization that I was, I learned a lot, and I feel being around that environment, being around the Greek life that I was a part of. I know a lot of they black role models that are doing big things, but the media it goes back to the media. They don't want us to be shown in that light. They keep us in the entertainment.
They don't want you to have 12-car garages.
They keep it in the entertainment business.
They don't want you to blast no hard in your new Lamborghini.
You know what I mean? That's what they keep us at.
They don't want you to grind towards success.
Because when people, there's people from way back when that obviously you can go look at your Black history, and a lot of
they don't want you to be blessed to the neck.
Have done lots of things, as far as progressing the world in which we live in. Invention, entrepreneurship, businesses, owning things like that. It's there. It's plenty. But when you're hitting the youth, that's not gonna grab their attention. So it's not. They're not gonna sit up there and, oh man, he was a Supreme Court justice. Wow, you know what I'm saying? They're not thinking that way. They're being entertained, and so that's always what they're gonna want to go to, because they can't physically see what it's doing, and that's probably the problem. If we could somehow show, like, okay, yes, these are people that are helping the community. Maybe if you saw them a little bit more, but that would be, again, on the medias. And if you're using Facebook or Twitter or something to self-promote yourself, I think nowadays it's going to become a lot easier as you have like official Twitter page. You see Donald Trump does all his stuff with Twitter.
That's what I was going to go ahead.
Another thing, not just social media, but like, well, not just Facebook, I should say, or Twitter. Like Donald Trump, where you might think of him, he does use social media really well. And yeah, he want props for that. But like Donald Trump, YouTube, people go to YouTube for DIY videos, do-it-yourself videos. You go to YouTube to look up stuff. So YouTube's a way that we can show people, oh, these are other people who the media doesn't focus on, and they're doing great things. Instagram, Twitter's a huge one.
Pinterest.
Yeah, like there's so many social media, and social media will become the new CNN, will become the new Fox News, the new whatever media outlet everybody want to go to. But when something bad happens or something big happens, where do most people go to? Twitter. Because Twitter, everybody's trending it. Everybody's talking about, oh my God, did you see South Carolina? Oh my God, did you see the Super Bowl? Oh my God, did you see, I can't think of a recent event just happened. I don't know why I just blanked out on it. But that's my point there. I'm sorry about that, by blanking out, guys.
That black got out of jail?
Yeah, no. That's because honestly, with the innovation of the internet in our generation specifically, because it's not so much for our parents and such, but a lot of us don't sit down and just watch TV habitually. Like, I talk to people all the time. Yo, do you have cable? Why would I have cable when I have the internet? So they're not gonna tune in your daily nightly news.
Yeah,
they're not tuning into that.
I have cable and it's just on sometimes. 90% of the time I'm still scrolling Facebook if my TV's on, because the TV's not interested anymore.
There's nothing on there. Where am I getting my weather? On my cell phone app.
Yep.
Where am I getting my news? I go, if I want to know something on the news, political standpoint, even if I specifically go look at those articles on a specific website, if I even go to a magazine or a newspaper website, if I go to the Times website or the Washington Post, so I can simply go on their website and look at any article I want to look at. You know what I mean? Or recent events and stuff like that. Why am I gonna wait to sit down and watch the news? The media. And so social media is really where it's gonna have to.
It brings.
Hey guys, sorry to interrupt again, but that's it for part 3 of the interview. Part 4 will be out soon, and we'll be talking about social media and branding and how one consider themselves or pretty much brand themselves. And it really comes down to the viewer, you, the listener, viewer, to kind of give us the answer behind the conversation that happens in the next episode. So I'm really looking forward to that. But in the meanwhile, while the episode is coming out, you can follow Tyreik, Antoine, and Christian down below. And I appreciate you guys watching. I really do. Love you guys. See you next episode. Hey guys, if you're watching the video on Facebook and you really enjoyed it, please give it a like. If you have a comment or a question or a topic you want me to talk about in the future, please put it in the comment section below, or you can send me a direct message on my Facebook page. And lastly, and I really appreciate it if you guys did this, this would mean so much to me. If you really enjoyed this video, please share with your friends and family, and hopefully they'll enjoy the video as well. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Thank you guys. You have no idea. And if you're watching this video on YouTube, please give it a thumbs up if you really enjoyed it. Is there a question or a comment or a topic you want me to talk about in the future? Please leave in the comment section below. And if you want more notification when new videos come out, please click on subscribe. Other than that, follow me on Instagram there. Follow me on Snapchat there for more daily tips and inspirational tips. Lastly, thank you guys for watching the video. I really appreciate the support. You guys have no idea. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your week and stay awesome.